wake up in the morning and I greet the sun. Connected with this star is everyone. Infinite energy, pure white light. Your hearts are shimmering like the stars at night. One human mind, one human heart will heal up Mother Earth with this sacred art. Master of ceremonies, humble MC. I sing out the message that was given to me by ancient line of warriors traveling the galaxy. Mother Earth is bigger than the eye could see. We live on a valley like ants on a tree. This is all made up, an illusion to me. There is no poverty, just low paying jobs and low self-esteem. High interest loans, they call payday advances. If you don't have the money, they don't give you chances. Can't pay your rent, can't pay your bills. So much pressure, it'll give you chills. But I try to stay sane, pop two to the brain. Thank you, happiness, you smell so sweet, taste like sugar cane. Everything is one where the people of the sun prophesize to come and share the wisdom of the masters. Don't call me preacher, don't call me pastor. I flow with the flow of a natural disaster, but stay as calm as a Toltec master. Sit meditating, infinite creating, waiting patiently for that next day to come. Where I wake up every morning and I greet the sun. Connected with the star is everyone. Infinite energy, pure white light. Your hearts are shimmering like the stars at night. One human mind, one human heart will heal up Mother Earth with the sacred art. Master of ceremonies, humble MC. I sing with the message that was given to me. Ancient line of warriors traveling the galaxies.
Yo, Zero.
Yo.
LA Natives podcast in the building, y'all.
How you doing? How you doing, Mondo?
Doing good. We got some early birds in the building.
Sweet. Right on. So yeah, once again, LA Natives podcast. And we're starting to, trying to figure out the format of what we're going to do here. But, as we always do, we try our best. And there's a few things that I want to add to the show, and I want to, put it out to the community because the community is the one that, kind of helps us gather all the resources that we need and the people that we need. But I think that the show needs we need to add another person to the show, and
Shout out to Richie, Indigenous 1492. Absolutely. Shout out to Sub One. Shout out to all of our past guests.
Absolutely.
And contributors and collaborators. Sub One does a lot.
Absolutely. Well, Sub One helps us with our flyers and our videos. Mainly the videos. The videos that you've seen on IG were made by Sub One. So,
and he's one of the dopest Indigenous hip hop artists out of SoCal right now. So
I mean, he definitely has lyrics. Him, Maza Motley, Cosmic Force, all those brothers that are putting in work, for the community and contributing in their own way. But as we move forward here in the LA Natives landscape, I think that I want to add or announce maybe that people like Daniel,
I saw a lot of that.
Yeah,
him coming back, man. We got a lot of engagement. We had people calling in from different states. It was just amazing.
Yeah, I mean he has a lot of wisdom, and let's share the platform. I always have a lot to say, but it's always better when it's a group of people and there's different perspectives. Because Daniel's about maybe I want to say 9, maybe 6 years older than me. I'm about 10 years older than you. And I think that we need to add somebody to the show that's maybe a little bit younger than you, but still has
absolutely,
and so what we're gonna look for maybe is a female, because there's a lot of male energy here, and we need some balance. We need some respect, so that we can kind of feed off of all of everybody who listens to LA Natives, because I know it's not just males that listen to LA Natives, it's females, you know, and they need to be represented in somehow. So we want to, you know, get some interviews, or, you know, if you want to join the LA Natives podcast, please DM LA Natives podcast, or you can DM me, and we're going to be checking out your page. And if we like, if we feel like you're a good fit, then we're gonna hit you up, because we do definitely need to like start engaging with the chat. You know, I want to be active in that area. You know, right now I'm starting to kind of, you know, go through my week, and if I see a good point or something, I'll pull that from social media, and then, you know, give the link to Armando. So we're getting somewhat of a system down in terms of how we're gonna you know, move forward with the show. But I definitely want to open up the perspective a bit. And
you sent me 3 links. One's titled "The Mandela Effect."
Right. So I want to. These are just topics that I feel like. Okay, let's. Did Daniel chime in yet?
Tortilla, right? And then immigrant recruitment to armed forces. Man, those are big topics right there.
Right. And here I want to chime in, and let me check in with Daniel real quick.
Tell Daniel I sent him the link. Here we go.
Is he here?
I think he's joining.
Okay, cool.
The green room.
Perfect. And
you know, just make sure the design is perfect.
Forgive us
here,
LA Natives community, because, you know, like I said, we're still working this out, but we'll get this better, you know, so that it's flawless. And there you are, Daniel Hawk. There you are.
What's up, brother?
What's up, Daniel?
I got my glasses on today so I could read.
Sweet. Like I said, man, we want to engage. So so I was kind of briefly explaining to the audience how, like, you know, the format of the show. You know, we have a few topics that I and pretty soon, you know, you'll have your resources in terms of what you want to bring to the show too, Daniel. But I was just letting people know that the scope of Valley Natives is going to change, because, you know, one, we're adding you as a fixture to it, because you don't need to be in studio. You can be on a computer and still voice your opinion. And we have plenty of room for callers to call in and things like that. But I thought that we were missing like a female energy, you know, on the cast, you know, because, you know, somehow like the male energy dominates. And when we're talking about social issues, or when we're talking about things that, well, maybe not our culture, but it is very male dominant. And I just want to bring somebody on that, you know, so if anybody is interested in joining the LA Natives team, you know, you could DM LA Natives podcast.
You could be local, based out of LA, or you could be remote.
Yeah, that's true. True.
That's a good.
You don't have to be from here.
Look at how you're watching Daniel right now.
This is I think that's a very good point.
I mean, but there's other criteria to it. You know, I'm not just going to be like, oh wow, you're you know, there's certain aspects. You know, me and Daniel were talking about this earlier today. You know, as we start to mold the show. You know, but yeah, man, I just want to welcome Daniel as, like, you know, just kind of announce it that, you know, he's going to be a part of our show, and you'll see him frequently, and his opinion matters. You know, he has a lot of wisdom, and we've learned many things off each other. And, you know, everybody at the shop, you know, when we're at Malinali on Whittier Boulevard in East Los Angeles, you know, people go, well, you guys should be talking on the podcast together, you know, and, you know, lo and behold, here we go. You know, so LA Natives podcast just kind of changed a little by, you know, permanently inviting Daniel to be a part of our show and to be a part of the experience of what we're going to do here with LA Natives and the community that brings.
Well, I thank you, Ruben, and I appreciate you know, just being here, and yeah, it's just been, I don't know, it's been a journey with you and myself, and I think with kind of interesting with Armando in the background, kind of like the Tezcatlipoca, you know, the unseen, but all the, you know, existing darkness.
There, but not seen.
But yeah,
man, as we grow, like, you know, I had a few things that I saw this week that I felt were important, right? And if we could click the link that says the immigrant one,
let's go ahead and get this prepared.
Yeah, I think last time we did the Egyptian one and the sound didn't come out, so let's make sure that everything's kind of flying on all cylinders.
Let's go ahead and get this dialed in.
Hey, and Ruben, I like the idea, like we were talking about, just that female energy, because I realized I think we don't, and I said it before, as a man, I do my best, but I can only do so much, and so
Well, I
I
mean,
just think
a female's opinion and perspective is completely different from a male's.
oh,
And
agreed.
we're gonna do the search for the right person that's gonna fit the show. It's gonna add to it, because it can't be one sided, nor can it be male dominated. It
Right.
has to open up somehow, and we're not planting cactuses, we're planting flowers, and all these things to
Well,
be.
Ruben agreed, and the cactus makes such a beautiful flower. So I mean, but I would add this to Ruben, in my experience, especially with my the Mexica culture, most of the elders that I was taught were women, and so for me, it's always been, I don't know, it seems like women in my life have had, I don't know,
So
guidance.
I think I figured this out. Yes, I these softwares update, every month with like different settings. So when we do playback on like TikTok or YouTube, I just need to mute our audio so the people in the audience could listen to it.
Got it.
So let's go ahead and
So we can't comment while it's on.
Daniel can, but
Okay.
All right.
which is all good.
Interesting. Okay.
All right. Well, let me set it up.
Absolutely.
This is a clip that shows somebody concerned with the recruitment of Army and Navy and Air Force, right? For the United States Army, their recruitment levels are really low, and apparently they're starting to recruit from the border. Like, oh, you want to be a citizen of the U.S., then you got to join our army, and you serve a certain amount of years in the army, and then you can become a citizen. But roll the clip, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, Daniel?
Yep.
Okay. Sounds good.
Well. America is now telling the truth a little bit because they got to come out because now they're begging. They're practically begging any immigrant or anyone to come and join their military because we are sick and tired of it. We see through the smoke and all the lies, the smoke and mirrors. We know that this has been a scam, and we know that you guys are the ones who are behind a lot of shit that we did not want to be true. And it's true. It is true. Look how he is begging. Pay attention to the shaking in his voice. America is shooken up and begging for anybody. So all along, this is what the fuck y'all been doing any damn way. And we said this shit, but y'all just said he was lying and shit. So if y'all would do all of this and try to get anybody in, what y'all gonna do with the American citizens who are already over here? That's where we're saying we're not coming on a common ground on what the fuck is going on in this movie. This movie is ridiculous. Listen to the shakiness in his voice, but pay attention how they are begging.
Our bill says that if you're an undocumented person in this country and you can pass the physical and the required test, background test, the like, you can serve in our military, and if you do it honorably, we will make you citizens of the United States.
Interesting.
Okay, so I have a take on this, right? And I'll do my take, and then you guys can have opinion, or you can have your own take on it. Look, it's not, and then it's derived off of TikTok too. So TikTok seems to exaggerate things and things of that nature. But if I look at it in the scheme of things, in the world scheme of things, in the world of like the World Economic Forum, or in the forms of the people that are making decisions for the next 10 years, right? The Bill Gates, the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, all these people that have elites, right? I remember when I was owning my business, I got audited by somebody who wasn't from the United States. Like, they were an agent that worked in the IRS, but they were from the Philippines, and they were working for the IRS on a visa, right? But they were working for the IRS. And that person would just every single by the letter. Like, there was no mercy. She was suggesting me sell my house, and it was a horrible experience because she was like to the letter. because she had to prove herself for whoever was her boss or what, this is the way she proved that she was an American, that she was ready to become an American citizen. So if we're recruiting individuals that are from a different country, that their country is chaos, like let's say Afghanistan or wherever the fuck it is, it doesn't matter. Even if it's from Guatemala or Nicaragua or El Salvador, wherever it's from, they're recruiting these individuals that are dying to become citizens over here and then sending them anywhere and they're getting blown up. But what if they have to focus that force on us, on the American population? You would want soldiers that are dying to become American. You know what I mean? Like, Americans will never attack Americans is what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't see the American military coming on, really kind of going down on the American population. That would be like, cannibalism. They'd be like eating themselves. But other people from other countries coming here, starving, wanting to become an American, will do anything for it. That's where I kind of felt like, whoa, this kind of feels a little unusual. What do you think?
I don't know, Ruben. I think it's kind of a heavy. I don't know. It's an interesting video, but I mean, I think too, man. Coming to this country, where are they leaving, Ruben?
I know. That's what I'm saying. They're taking desperate people to, like, we got to think in those manners. Like, things are falling apart, Daniel. Like.
No, I agree. But you and Ruben,
Like,
I was going to suggest.
it's not flowers and roses. There's a big disparity in things that are happening.
So Zero, do you believe that this country is the most powerful country on earth?
No, not anymore.
You're funny.
Not anymore because it's never been about that. It's never been about that.
Has it ever been?
No, because it's about rich families controlling large amounts of population, right? That's a given. That's a given. Rich families, a certain amount of families that own. That's why they say, haven't you heard that the 1% owns 99% of everything?
Right.
Well, that's what they mean. What the fuck do you think they mean? They mean that there's a few families calling a lot of the shots. And if these few families are trying to control a population that outnumbers them by for whatever, that's going to collapse. It's going to collapse. So what's their next move? It's kind of divide and conquer. It's always been that, right? And it's very easy to turn in those refugees or into UN soldiers, and they don't have a country anymore because there's too much chaos going on.
Right.
I'm just saying that we need to be prepared. Not prepared. You can never be prepared for that.
Right.
But maybe prepared in a way that now we get to start talking about what we're expertise at, right? That's a world situation that maybe can come upon us or maybe not. But people like to, discuss things like they discuss the Super Bowl or whatever else. I thought this would be kind of one of those topics, right? We don't really know exactly what's happening. But if I was a rich elite and I came from few families, I would try to figure out a way to divide people. And if you're taking refugees that are starving, that are being kicked out of their own homelands, and you're going, well, you could become a soldier. And if you do it honorably, we will give you. See that doing honorably? That's right there where you get fucked in the contract. Right? Because what is honorably? Like, what? You can't get drunk and then you're drunk in public. Oh, well, you didn't do it honorably, so you're not a citizen.
Well,
you know what I mean? That's the kind of plays they do.
Well, Ruben, let me throw this into. I was talking to my nephew about it today, and he mentioned something, and I kind of, I agreed. It was that. Have you heard about a lot of these convoys? They're starting from maybe Guatemala, but I mean, they're starting from South America, some places, but then when they're coming through Mexico, they're either coming apart or they're not. What's happening is that a lot of the people that are looking for work are finding work in Mexico, and Mexico is picking them up, and they're fitting into the Mexican economy.
Mhm.
Now, for some reason, some people are just choosing either to not stay there, they're moving on to have a vision of coming to the US, and so again, too, you can't forget the fourth branch of the government, which is, Hollywood, and what it's fed the world, and so they've been feeding these dreams and, illusions of a lot of things, and so, um, but I just think what you're not I know this for sure. If we're getting an infusion of immigrants in this country, the side effect is gonna be a large amount of millionaires and billionaires are gonna start to be had in this country because all this labor, it's pretty cheap, is gonna put people to work, and, I think that's what's really what you're I mean, I hear what you're saying, but to think about if I was an elitist and I had all my money and I saw these fools coming in and hungry, it would scare me if I was, I don't know, and not in the right well, like I said, if I didn't have melanin. But I mean, if I was a thinking, creative person, I'd think, man, there's a lot of people that could go to work here. And so there's going to be a lot of millionaires made in the next 10 years with all this labor coming up. And so it's just a way that we look at things, Ruben, because
It's more than it's not a boom. We're not going through a boom. We're going
no, no,
through a
not yet. I
transition.
mean, there's,
Going
there's
through a
no workers.
transition. The transition is to go to digital currency.
Right, right,
That's why everything's becoming so volatile.
right,
And
right, right,
and the best way to create soldiers is to displace them, right?
right,
Now they're in a
right,
total different environment,
right.
right? And then switch the law. And
Yeah,
once you switch the law, like martial law, once we go into martial law, like the police are different. Like it's no
right,
longer in the police's hands. It's
right,
in the
right.
the what do you call that? The guard. What do you call them?
The National Guard?
Yeah, the National Guard. Right. When the
Right,
National Guard gets called out, now it's the army. The army don't give a
right,
fuck. It's just boom, boom, boom.
right, right.
They're IDFing everything. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, no, I agree. Ruben, would you what's crazy though, is it just like look at I mean, I think we all are here living our life and it's a struggle. For some people it's probably easier than others, but I kind of trip out off of, all the resources that are spent on the army, the border, all these things, and it's just
that's the
man,
point. Like it's like, look, what's happening, and this is what I'm trying to say is that there's a prelude to this. There's another piece to this puzzle that I'm talking
right,
about, right?
right, right,
What is the piece? What's happening in Texas?
right,
The border thing,
right,
right?
right.
Because
Well, yeah,
because
it's
these
a
because
battle.
these because these what was that name of that group, the Trump supporter group, the one that what's the name of that the
Yeah, the border protectors?
no, not necessarily the border protectors, but there was a group that, like, the conspiracy group, right? But
Okay,
these
okay.
guys know that look, rich people control the narrative, but the truth is that eventually, when you put cell phones and information in the hands
Right,
of people, they're gonna find out what's happening.
right,
And I think that's what's happening is that, people in the World Economic Forum are going off and they're just saying, we're doing this and we're doing that and we're going this and we're going there. And then these, research nuts going down the rabbit hole and find out, documents being put out by the UN and, you
right,
know, certain keywords that are used at Davos and the World Economic Forum where they meet and they plan out the next 10 years. So that's what I'm trying to say, Daniel, is that, each move, because the people that they're finding on the border, they're not necessarily from South America, or some of them are
right, yeah,
African.
right.
Some
Well,
of
I
them
mean,
are fucking Arab.
it's a it's a border that's always been, it's always really literally been an open border, I mean, it's, a lot of movement, but the thing is that, I think the rest of the world has started to realize that it was an open border, and I don't think they realized it so much until, well, a lot of the people started to complain about it, and so, it's become more of a public, I guess, issue or awareness. But it's one of those things, Ruben. It's like I don't know. People complain about it, but they're not really looking and seeing the issue because it's always been a problem. But think about it. Right now, I want to say they're talking about historically. They're going to, I guess, what is it? Take to court Mayorkas, who's the border border guy, you know, they're gonna impeach him. They're gonna impeach the border guy. It's like, man, shit's going bad. Well, let's fire the guy that's running everything. You know, like it just, you know, it's very, but again, too, it's all a lot of resources, man. You know, these people run not millions, Ruben, billions of dollars, you know, on
Yeah.
doing this. And so it's like, think about that. They're talking about billions of dollars and they can't stop people from coming over. Like with billions of dollars, they could probably pay them to stay on that side in a hotel, you know? And so, but it's just, where's all that money going, you know? And so it's just interesting that I at least struggle with it. Like you know, we were talking earlier about taxes. You can't live here without paying taxes. When some fool says, "Oh, they don't pay taxes," like, dude, you are watching too much TV. Because man, you pay taxes when you get a candy bar. You know you go to hotel. You know you can't you put gas in your car. You know you cannot avoid putting into the system, and it's just a lot of
Right.
our resources. I think my biggest issue,
So
Ruben.
that's my whole point is that, everything is shifting, right? We have everything is shifting. Even now the protection of the border, right? Like that's a big issue. Because what if the president of the United States says, "Oh, you know what? That's a fucking national crisis right there." Right? Check it out. They're over there fighting about it, the Rangers and the Border Patrol and whatever. Fuck
Right.
it. There's none of them anymore. We're going to send in UN fucking troops. How about that motherfucking shit? It's that drop that
This is such a fucking joke to me, dude. It's like you see the Rangers, the Army now. They're
Right,
they're
right.
there. It's just
they're making him
so
si-
fucking
for,
embarrassing,
for
dude.
me it's making him look incompetent.
Yeah. When you drive to Beverly Hills and Glendale and Bel Air and Santa Monica, Malibu, bro, every nanny, every babysitter is an illegal immigrant.
Right,
Like,
right.
let's be real.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's interesting is that if you listen to the dialogue of
My
the
parents were illegal immigrants.
oh, I
Like,
mean, right,
like
just by existing, if they create laws that make us illegal by just existing, then we become outlaws, you know, and it's just but again, to
how do you think
outlaws
the vegetables and the fruits are
Well,
so
let's
right,
affordable, you guys? You know,
I mean,
like
but let's talk about that though. Let's talk
it's
about
not
that.
very just, you know. And
We,
the thing is
we,
that
we it goes deeper. It goes deeper than citizen
who does all the construction?
and
You know what
right,
I'm
immigrant.
saying?
right,
It goes deeper than citizen and immigrant, right? It goes way deeper than that. You're a living man. If we study Jordan Maxwell, you'll understand that when he starts talking about being a living man and being a straw man, that's the difference.
right, right.
What once every okay, you said
Well, like how Wordfirst says, they're not illegal; they're all indigenous.
well. Think,
Yes,
think about
yeah,
this though. Daniel right now said that everything has to pay taxes, right? Every
right,
living being
everything.
have to take taxes, right? And I agree with that. But it's not something it's not something that we can't challenge, right? Through information, right? Because everything is an ordinance, right? Ordinances are not laws. They're things to keep things regulated. Think of it as a fence that keeps the cows in,
You're funny.
right? But all
Right.
you got to do is knock over the fence and then the cows are free.
Hey, but Ruben, let me ask you something. And
And
this
this
is
is
just
just going deeper into what citizen is. That's all I'm saying.
okay.
There's layers to it. There's layers to it. There's like you could be a citizen if you want. If you know what a citizen is, you'll know. You'll do the research. I mean, study the Black Laws Dictionary, right? Learn what it means to be a living man and to defend what that living man is. Right? There's lots of information that we can go deeper and deeper when we're challenging color of law, right? And so I recommend that the community in the LA Natives community start researching Jordan Maxwell because when we start researching Jordan Maxwell, we're going to start to figure out what it is to be on maritime law and admiralty law, right?
Did you hear about this garbage that they're putting barbed wire everywhere?
Yeah.
Right, right. But I mean, and that's part of the that's what the issue is too. Is you got the state taking the federal government, on right now, and it's like, man, You know, they're just it's interesting thing going on in Texas. You know, they're really setting the precedent for a lot of things. You know, and so but again,
It's setting a precedence for people to go, oh, look at how everybody's out of control over there. Fuck it, it's martial law.
right. Well, but the thing is, the crazy thing, Ruben, they start to use the word terrorists, you know,
Right.
terror. And it's like they want to link this shit together. And you and I realized today, or when I was watching Frontline, and Frontline, man, is, you know, a lot of good documentaries. But, and let me ask you guys this, okay? Do you know, I mean, do you know how much money that they're spending? You know, what is it, the NSA, you know, the one that tracks all your phones and everything,
Mhm,
like that
mhm.
you know, it's
Yeah.
all up in your shit. Okay, yeah, how many millions, billions of dollars? I think it's in the trillions they've spent. How many, you know, how many events were they able to prevent?
I don't know. I don't
How
know.
many terrorist events did they stop?
But like, this is what I'm talking about though. Like it's
Yeah,
like
but
that's
Ruben,
that's
do you
when
get
when
that?
when when you spend that amount of money.
Right. And no results. There's no, you know, and so and
Well, I
nobody's
wouldn't say there's
questioning it.
no results because the results are who they're keeping in check, who
Well,
they're
but
bribing,
Ruben, the
the
intention is
information that they know, like in terms of like, oh, we're gonna follow Putin, and yeah, he's a
no, Ruben. Okay,
this
tell
and
you,
that.
I'm gonna tell you a quick story. Just I was reading these articles, all right?
Mm.
And get this, do you know the US had the information on a hit? You know, there was a hit on there was a funeral I think it was in January of last year, and they told the Iranian government that there was information that there was going to be a hit there, you know, and so crazy things. The US's law says that if they have information of a hit, that they tell the person, even if they're an adversary. And I thought to myself, wow, that's kind of crazy that the US government itself has to be truthful and honest, you know, but it's like, man, and if you look at a lot of times that a lot of the officials, they'll lie straight to the camera. And it's just interesting as you try to weave through the truth, the law, and the practice, you know, the actual you know, enforcement of the law. And so
Well, look, like you, and this is what I'm talking about. Like we need to know what these things mean, right? What do you think law means? What is law to you?
me,
Yeah.
law, I mean, to me, it seems like an order that we have to abide by, or there's a punishment.
Okay, so it's an order, like let's say a written document that
Maybe. I mean,
gives
it's
you
most likely written.
instructions to, whatever. Don't a traffic one, right? Like don't you got to put your blinker on when you turn or
Right,
something,
right,
right?
right, right. But I
Now,
mean, I think those laws are set for order, you know, to kind of make sure,
so
you know, that there's a function, you know, because I think sometimes it's
right,
kind of like, you know, I think of a law, I think of driving. You can't
okay.
drive on the left side of the road.
You know what law stands for?
Mm-mm.
Land, air, and water.
No,
No, I'm serious.
no, it makes sense.
And in the Black Laws Dictionary, it means land, air, and water. That's what it means. So whoever writes the that ordinance that you just talked about is in charge of the land, the air, and the water.
Damn.
That's that there it is. This is what we need to know.
But Ruben, that sounds a lot like God, man, the earth.
Yeah.
And
And in
I
some
don't know, brother.
see, look,
Wait,
I don't just study like American history. Like I study Moors. I study the Moors. I study all kinds. I have good friends that have been, researching and for a very long time, right? And God, you know what God is in the Moorish view? It's government, ordinances, and decrees.
oh shit. Okay.
And that's what you follow in the name of government, ordinances, and decrees. And we follow the land, the air, and the water. That's how simple it is. And if you don't even know that simplicity, then and then we get caught up with citizen. You see how they're duping everyone? They're duping people from different countries to go sacrifice their life to join the American dream. So one day you can be
Right,
called a
right.
citizen, which breaks down as a person that has to follow the government, the ordinances, and decrees of the land, air, and water, which are ruled by the elites.
Right. Well,
That's
God,
it, right there.
man, and the earth. Right.
That's it. That's it. And there's different laws that you. So we need to start studying deeper and deeper. And I think I want to take LA natives to that point where we're studying exactly what this is because they erase history. Watch. Play this clip right here if you're ready. So I don't know if you've ever heard of these people, Daniel, but check these guys out.
The history of an entire civilization, one that undoubtedly had significant influence on global society. An entire empire covered up by our controllers. Where was our lesson about Tartaria in grade school? Well, we didn't have one. And that's because the Rockefellers bought out the public school system to teach us only the history they wanted us to know. Tartaria was an empire, and its symbol was a griffin or a wyvern. This is well documented in old posters and photographs. What's more is we see on the Russian imperial flag a griffin or wyvern being stabbed by St. George on a horse, a clear metaphor for the Papal State's victory over Tartaria. Again, you can believe whatever you want to believe, but to me, this is clear evidence that we are being lied to and manipulated. What was the Tartarian Empire, and why did they want to cover it up so badly? This theory posits that the Tartarians that our controllers do not want us to know about. This hidden knowledge.
So,
Wow.
have you heard of this, Daniel?
The Tartarians? No. You
There's a reason why. Because we only study history from like the 1600s or maybe the 1400s, 1492, right? From that point on. There's really never anything like 11, 800, you know? There's never anything about that. Think about that. If you get into books that start talking about that,
But these are TikTok videos, right?
They are, but still, it doesn't mean that that this information does not exist. That's a perfect way to hide information, right? If you hide information that can't be filtered, you go, oh well, it's on TikTok, right? Like it's a perfect thing. I'm not saying that it's true. I'm saying go research it. Go find out about it because look, Tartaria is tied in with the World Fair. Right? The World Fair is the place where everybody brought their technologies and advancements in technologies and farming and livestock. It's not just a county fair where you just focused on like a farm thing. No, they were like, oh wow, we invented this thing that can ice does this over there, and so then. What ended up happening is that the elites go into these world fairs, right? And this is during the time of this tech, I believe during the Tartarian thing. Because remember, in the documentary for Standard Oil, the Rockefellers and the Carnegies, the Rockefellers, and I forget, there was another one more family. They pretty much set up all the educational system. Right? And they had to do the educational system brick by brick so that they can unload the waste created from oil to create the pharmaceutical industry. You needed the academics to say that is medicine. So they just basically bought up all the universities and they put their monies together and they said, this is what we're going to do and this is the new future. And we're going to offload these chemicals that are being derived from oil. This is a documentary from PBS.
Right. Hey, brother, the homie Vanderbilt was the name you were missing.
There you go. The Vanderbilts. Exactly. Them motherfuckers. All three of them. They designed the modern day educational system.
But you had two, Ruben. I think that a part of the reason they built schools was part of, from what I was told, is kind of a guilt after they really took from America, that all of their wealth came at a cost, and so I think it was Carnegie that built a lot of libraries,
Right, because you could control the narrative if you have the library.
Right.
You could go, oh, we're only going to study till here.
Yeah.
Don't put any books that are from here and on. If I walk into this library and this fucking book about that, because that's not going to match up to what we're doing over here.
Yeah.
So no one in these positions or in these families ever have your intention at heart, right? They never thinking, oh, wow, let's do some good things for the poor people over there. No, hell no, they don't. So
Right.
that's why I'm bringing up these subjects like Tartaria and
But where
you
was
know,
Tartaria, Ruben?
it was a part of the Russian Empire. It was the old world. Now, think about this. He in the video he says that in the Russian flag there's the symbol of Tartaria and then they're stabbing it, right?
Right.
So that's just an old world order's taking a new world order's taking over, right?
Right.
Like all the rich families said, "Fuck that family. We're gonna
Well,
fucking do
it's
it
kind
now."
of like a Napoleon picture that shows him, in his battle, kind of
Right.
fictional, doing what he thinks, he's doing it, but that becomes history because
And
there's
then
no
this new system of governance or money, right, starts to take control, which is more of the England side of things.
right,
It took more power away. It took power away from the old Russian
right, right.
civilization or whatever it is, whatever they did, And now think about it. Now we got bricks. You know what bricks is?
Bricks is isn't that
The new
what-
currency, the new cryptocurrency
okay, yeah, I don't know
made
what
by
that's about.
China, Russia, India. What was it? Brazil.
Right.
All the old world countries that are connected to Tartarian time.
The shit. Well, too, Ruben, I mean, we were talking about the stories, the things that
This is like outside of history books. This is outside of the mainstream shit. This is like like Ike shit.
right,
You know what I
right.
mean?
But
Jordan Maxwell shit.
But too, Ruben, what you're talking about too in terms of time, I think also too, I would add this too, is that there's also language,
Mm,
because there's when you go back in time, you kind of the language changes because I think that what I find as a historian that man, English has only been spoken here, especially in California, maybe about 150 years. Where Spanish, you go back 500 years. But if you speak Nahuatl, then you go back another 5,000 years. So I think that the what you're talking about again to a lot of the language breaks down that reality because it's like law, God, those words are in English, and
mhm,
so like they
mhm.
mean things in English. It's the bullshit that they tell you when they say, "Oh, well, they thought they landed in India." Well, fuck,
Right.
India doesn't exist as India at that fucking time in history. And then yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
then India isn't it's a Spanish word. And so how they get Indian out of India, when you lie, you could get, fuck, you could think of anything you want,
Right.
because it doesn't have to be true. So, but what I explain is that so because Spanish was spoken here long before English, you wonder why do they call them Negro? Because Negro is the way the Güero says negro.
Mhm,
And the first word's negro. It's just the same way that the first thing they called us was indios.
mhm,
They didn't call us Indians because that's English.
mhm,
Indios, which literally means without God. They came here and they called us the people without God, indios.
mhm.
And so, by just having that language, you understand, hey, the way they saw us because that was now, and it's kind of like when I look at a city. Okay, I live in the city of Sunnyvale. Sunnyvale means nothing in terms of history or time. But if I go to the north of here, there's Los Altos, which is actually in Spanish, which means the tall or where the big trees are. And so where I live, it's after some concept that some European came up with. Well, to the north, they named the city after whatever the natives have called it. So it's a translation.
Mm.
So just by having that place called in Spanish, it's tied more to the native concept. Whereas if it's English, it doesn't want anything to do with the European or with the native, with
Mhm.
indigenous. It wants to create its whole new version, which is think about it, Ruben. If you called your tribe the name of a man,
Mhm.
what more could you do to erase your culture?
Mhm.
What
Right.
more could you do?
Mhm.
But then to name your people after a man, which is what we as natives, we don't do that because just like the Asian culture, if you look at one of their pictures, it's a huge nature scene. And under a bridge somewhere, there's a little man sleeping because it puts in context how we are in the world because
Mhm.
of cultures understand that as man, we're just a seed in the garden of nature. And so, as we use language, it reveals a whole different mindset, a whole different concept, and so I remember last week someone mentions, I wanted to repeat it, was that in English, it's a language to manifest things, and it's kind of like you said, the law, the air, the water. They want to make money. They want to create units.
Mhm.
Whereas in Nahuatl, they want to sing nature. They want to mimic nature because they understand it's about living in nature, but understanding nature money doesn't equate in nature, but money equates in this world of English. And well, become part of the army and I'll pay you and you'll be a citizen in this new world. And that's why they call it the new world, because the new world's English. All people from Europe, it's like they now, you ever trip out? It's like, man, why is it all these people? They're all in charge, but we're all the original people. And so,
See, and right there, what you said right there, that's what BRICS is. The old countries. I saw this interview or this little short on why they're coming together. They're like, we're fucking ancient civilizations. How the fuck we're the poorest? How the fuck does England own all the money? How about we? You know what I mean? Like,
well, brother, think
and it's,
about it.
dude,
If
you
you
know how
make
much
the
one
money,
brick
that's
is?
how
You
you
know how
have
much
all the
one
money.
bricks is? One bricks is $55 to buy one fucking brick. It's like the bricks, the cryptocurrency, the bricks. It's $55 fucking dollars. They're destabilizing. That's what I'm trying to tell everyone. It's like we look at things in a micro space, where it's like, oh, Will Smith's being outed, and it's like, oh, we're all focused on that, or fucking, oh,
Oh
Joe
man.
Biden said some stupid shit, and he looks like an idiot, and we're like, oh, damn, Joe Biden, and then they start doing these really big moves where they're trying to destabilize the dollar, and what's going to happen after that? The whole thing that's happening in Texas is relating to people trying to recruit people from other countries to be. It's almost like you're getting these McDonald's workers that are saying fucking shoot them, and they're just gonna shoot because they
Right,
don't give a fuck about you. They're not
right,
from
right.
there.
But
You know what
Ruben,
I mean?
that's what I think it is, Ruben, is that there's the difference between the native people and those people that aren't native. If you're a native, you see
Absolutely,
other people and
absolutely.
it's like, man, I help you, brother. So, like, because I see you and I see me. And so I'm still human. So when I see you, I see me. Whereas if I see you as a commodity, man, then there's no humanity in that, and it's just, we're
But
still human. I'm still alive. And I still, I was saying, and I feel so blessed, Ruben, that, I work on Tuesdays. I have my gardening route, and man, my gardening, my customers are just the nicest people. But I was explaining to one of my customers that I use things and I love people. I don't love things and use people,
mm, mm,
And so that's the difference between natives, where we see people and that's our reason to be, whereas, if I see I don't know, a sweatshirt or a t-shirt or a metal thing, like that's just, it's nice, but it doesn't warm my heart.
mm. Well, out of all that we shared, today, I do want to bring it back to the indigenous. I always bring it back to that. These things are happening, but there are also other things happening. Other things outside of governments or people who try to control land and or air and water.
Right,
I mean,
right.
that's like a ridiculous thought. Like if you were to tell that to an ancient individual, like, yeah, those people, they're in charge of the land, air, and water, they would like think of you as an insane individual
Right, right.
because no one controls land, air, and water. They can
Uh,
give a perception of
no,
it.
Ruben, that's interesting. I remember in the book, I read the book, Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee. It was a D. Williams, and a native had said that, how do you buy or own the land that you walk on? Like they
Yeah.
couldn't grasp the concept,
Yeah,
And
like they go like they start thinking like, well, how far deep do you own it? Do you own it like 10 feet deep underneath the earth?
it's
Or
funny.
like
But Ruben, I remember there was a
it's like
story.
there's no concept to owning that land. That's why it was like always people I was told people like think about it really, really hard. You close your eyes, use your heart, and think, where are all the indigenous maps of the land? Where are they? There are none. I've never seen an indigenous map of a landmass.
But Ruben, okay, I tell you what though. I tell you
But
what.
wait. Let me finish. But they did map something. They mapped the sky. They mapped the sky. The sky put positions, stars in position, and that's what they mapped. They didn't look down at the earth and start mapping the earth like these Europeans. And because once they did that, once they drew the map out, once they drew the coast out, what did they do after that? They put their fucking name on it. Right? And now all of a sudden, that's no longer Tonantzin. That's Cortés de los Rios de la fucking whatever the fuck they called it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just those concepts are not ours. You know what I mean? They're not ours. The stars position things, and then this is what Arturo Mesa said, is that these positions go in cycles. And when they're in certain positions, certain things happen on the earth. Unity happens on the earth. Civilizations start to come out of it. During these time of stars, that because the earth is dimensional, it's not like a physical thing that you can draw out and put your name on it and say, this is mine. It's the same concepts of thinking, I own this land.
Right.
Or what did the Spaniards say when they went on the highest mountain peak and they said, I own the land as far as the eye could see.
Yeah, that was what actually William Hearst said that.
Oh, there you go. That fucking dude.
Yeah, he did that on the West Coast.
Yeah.
So.
You see? So I mean, it's these concepts. Let's try to, and that's when we talked about last season, is breaking the colonial perspective.
Right.
That's a part of it. Breaking the colonial perspective that there's a map and that there's these borders and that there's these names that are written on it. Right. And don't look down at the fucking dirt. Look up at the stars, because that's where the real fucking map is.
Right.
Yo, I want to shout out everyone that's tuning in. The chat is lit. The viewership's lit. Yo, hit the like button, comment on the video, share the video, hit the subscribe button, man. We got Daniel in the building. We got Zero. Man, it's lit.
So the stars, they tell us certain time sequences, right?
Right.
And those sequences relate to what's happening in society.
For sure.
This is why it's and it goes back to what Daniel was saying, was nature. Where did these things come from? Where did these concepts come from?
Right.
They come from 1,000 years at looking at that flower come out every spring. 1,000 years. Yes, I'm going to look at this flower come out 1,000 years. You're going to get good at looking at that. You're going to get good at looking at when the fruits come out in the summertime.
Right. But you know what, too, Ruben, I was going to say, when when you were talking about that we don't do maps, and we didn't do maps, but Ruben, the name of a place, if like in Nahuatl, when you knew the name of a place, you would know what it was like when you got there. If that makes any sense. I'll give you an example, like Tepoztlan. Tepoztlan was a place that when you went up on the mountain and you climbed this mountain, and you got to the top of the mountain, it was a struggle to get to the top of the mountain. And there's a temple at the top there, and it's like, oh my God, how they build this temple? But then you get up to the temple and you look down, and you see a serpent in the ground, and that's where Quetzalcoatl, was born or lived there. And so it's like, people know that when you go to see Tepoztlan, you'll look down and you'll see the serpent.
Oh, that's crazy! Fucking went to Tepoztlan. I stayed there.
Okay, right. It's a very special place. I mean, so Tepoztlan. I have a cousin who's an architect, and he would always complain that when they worked there, I said, "Why don't you like working there?" He goes, "Because man, you dig down, and they'll find shit, and then you got to stop, and the archaeologist, the anthropologist comes in." I was like, "Dude, that's dope." But he goes, "Yeah, but you can't get anything done. They just did." I said, "It's funny to me, but I thought, okay, but the place is just covered with just a lot of culture, and I mean." It's a very, to me, like the first time I'd been there, Ruben, years ago, I'd been there, and there was a golf course. They were trying to build the golf course. Then, it was the colonials trying to build a golf course there. And so you saw the whole town was graffitied, painted. It looked crazy. But basically the message was, dignity is worth more than a golf course. No one here plays golf. And I was like, holy shit. It blew my mind. And I remember to this day, I always thought that social, like, conscious fucking graffiti. And it was like, wow. They made the town look ugly, but they made the point that, hey, dude, we don't need a golf course here. And that was like, man, 1996.
And,
And so
and that's the beginning. That's closer to 94 when then
yes,
when all the stuff started awakening through the
yes, yes,
Zapatistas.
yes, yes.
And that's what I mean about we're looking at the earth, all of its borders, all of its laws, all of its government, and trying to figure out when this is going to change.
Well, Ruben, the thing is, like, anything that's takes a time to change it takes a while. And the thing is, man,
This is my point. My point is we're looking at the ground, we're looking at concepts that really don't make sense. Like we were talking about, like how can you own the land? How
so
far?
you're saying the colonial yeah, but brother, remember,
Everything.
colonialism can't last forever. Colonialism
The perspective of colonialism is that we to look at these maps, look at these borders because they have names on it, and these names belong to these governments that own or at least control the land map. That's the concept. When we used to look at the stars, see the position, when the position is right, we make the announcements, the community gathers, and we build. This is the way we follow the Tonalama. This is the way we wake up at 6 a.m. to see the orange
Right.
color.
Right.
This is the way we pay attention at noontime to see the blue color
Right.
and to see the gold color when it goes.
Right. Right.
These concepts destroy colonialism,
Sure.
destroy capitalism,
Right.
destroy socialism, because it's not based on some idiot's doctrine or idea. It's based on life and
Right.
nature.
Right. But I think too, Ruben, I think that following the theme from last week is like love. We
Yeah.
have love. We're lights of love. We're rays of light. And so as we live our life, like if we follow the path, whatever our passion is, like man, when you're in your studio and you're
Mhm.
burning the incense and dropping those lyrics, like that's a gift that you were given, and you share that gift, and so each of us have a gift. And imagine if we all and it's such a vast society that all of us have our own influences and our things, that and if we begin to support each other and try to really find those people in our neighborhoods, in our community that that do what we like, or I mean, kind of like it's like eating good. So come to mind like superfoods. We're the first steps, and then you're actually supporting an indigenous movement. You're supporting something, because what I think too, Ruben, is I think that our real power is going to be to in the future to put our resources into things, organizations,
Well,
people.
I I I, com-
It's us,
I completely 100% agree, right? But I'll take it one step further. Once individuals really hone in on on the vessel that is your body, right? And
Right.
I'm just going through my transformation myself, because I'm getting to a point where I've been consistent with these particular foods for a long time, and it's all relevant to what we're talking about, right? We
Right.
complain about colonialism, yet I think back in the day, if I was, just hypothetically, if we were back in the day and I was on my foods and a Spaniard tried to trap me, I would like not eat for 4 days. I would be really focused, because what I've learned from fasting and keeping on a fasted state is that, like, say for instance, like this podcast, right? I purposely don't eat
Right.
so that I could be super sharp.
Right.
Because I'm just super sharp. Like I'm not thinking about food because I'm not hungry, because I have minerals,
Right. Right.
right? But people get habitual into their habits, right? And
Right.
if I would have ate breakfast, say for instance, I ate like what they say 3 times a day. If I would have ate breakfast and lunch, by the time I would have got here, I would have been spent. I don't think that the conversation would be a whole lot different because I'd be tired trying to digest the food that I've eaten. I
Right.
mean, people don't really, it's really that simple. It's as simple to beat this colonial perspective is very simple. Remember, they stole children and indoctrinated them. They beat them. They forced them to believe in this shit.
Right.
So then how much weight can it have? I told somebody today at the Malinali, I told them, I go, bro, I know some people think decolonizing is difficult, but picture somebody putting the county blues on you, right? You just got like a little bit of, you put the
Yeah,
shirt on, you put
right.
the pants on,
Right.
and they're very loose, and it's. I go, just take it off. Go, just take it off. What do you mean? Don't drink beer. Don't drink alcohol. Don't eat meat. Start to learn to fast. Wake up with the sun. Greet the sun when it goes down. Recognize the noontime.
Damn.
Follow the tonalama. These are instructions.
Right.
And you just take off the county blues. Pfft, like easy.
Yeah.
And
No,
you're sharper. You're sharper. You're
right.
sharper. You're alert. Dude, I run the store, man.
No, it's true. It's true, Ruben. It's interesting. Also, too, see in the chat too, they're commenting fasting. And it's interesting. I was having a good, like I said, I have a couple customers. One of my customers came out, and he was dropping weight, and I was thinking, oh man, I hope he's okay. And I think, hey, how you doing? And he's you good. I say, are you you trying to lose weight? He goes, oh yeah, I'm doing my best. He said, I'm doing it fasting. And I thought, oh man, I was so impressed. I thought, and he said, it's working for him. And I thought, man, that's because I know myself, I learned that way back in the day that when I do a show and I would do like a 3-day show, I really wouldn't eat too much, man. I would
Yeah.
just pretty much fast through the weekend just because it just worked for me to not be on my stomach when I'm dealing with customers and things, but
You just got to be alert.
yeah,
I know what it's like at the store. Like, I don't have time to eat something and then
well, I
serve,
mean,
20 people.
the
It's
thing
like,
is, man, sometimes, man, your stomach can run you, and it's that can be
well,
dangerous.
again, also too, I gotta be clear. I'm not just running on nothing. I'm running on what I did was I switched out the bullshit food for powerful, real food.
Right,
That's
right.
all it is. And I'm not doing anything miracle. There's no miracle to it. It's just being wise about what I prioritize to go into my system first.
Right, right,
That's it. It's
right.
it's like some people prioritize café con pan. Right? Like, oh shit, I need to get my coffee and my bread because after that I'll be good. Right? But flour, refined, bleached
Right,
flour
right.
with acidic, and nerve shocking with sugar coffee.
Hey man, don't hate on my concha,
Well,
I know. The Goja.
I'm not
We
dissing.
we were raised on that shit,
Right.
right,
No,
Connie?
it's true.
Hey
It's true.
man,
It's
but
true.
we're breaking colonial perspective.
Hey,
We're
but you know what
breaking
though?
it. How do we do that? We replace it with, spirulina, with
Well,
maca, with
right,
chia, with
right,
cacao, with
right,
hemp, with all these other things that really feed your blood cells. I would
right.
rather feed my blood cells than shock my nervous system to give me this jittery energy that's really not focused and
Yeah, man. Like ultimately, a panaderia it's a disaster, right, Zero?
well,
It
it's a
is
lot of
true.
sugar, it's a lot of refined sugar. And don't
Right,
get me wrong, like dude, I'm not trying to diss anybody's
right.
food choices. That's not what I'm doing. What I'm doing is I'm pointing out what we need to do to destroy colonialism.
Well, you know what too, Ruben, I was gonna add is that, I know I was raised, man, a long time ago, we went to an iridologist in Mexico, and
Mhm.
man, that was really changed our lives, man, especially being, prone to diabetes. But I was gonna say that I know what the doctor explained to me, and I always try to keep this in my head. He said, in the morning when you wake up, it's called a desayuno because you've had an ayuno. You haven't eaten all night, and so it's like, okay, makes sense. It's a fast. So to break the fast, it's always good to begin with something organic, like a fruit, some water, or something to put in your stomach before you have your coffee, your concha with like if you're gonna have those, it's always best to start out with something organic in your stomach. I agree. I mean, my routine is I get up and I do my dad. I make him fruit and tea in the morning, and so it's
Mhm.
kind of like my routine too.
Oh,
But I mean, it's just because I just remember the doctor saying that, and it's just also too that we've just been raised, and it's just man, maybe because we've been broke, but Poco es mejor. Less is better. Because you think
But
about it from
but
this perspective.
I get what we're saying, like in poco es mejor and keeping to the traditions of whatever. But when I'm talking about mineral foods, they're abundant.
Right.
They're abundant. There's dude, 10 pounds of chia will last you a
Right.
while.
Right.
10 pounds of spirulina will last you a while.
Right. Right.
You
Right.
know, 4 pounds of maca will last you a while.
Right. And
These
we use
things, these things are so potent.
right.
They're so potent because you got to think like it's like when you fast on a daily basis, like I don't eat till 7, and right now I still haven't eaten. Oh wait, I think I ate a little bit. I don't remember. But the point is that I only eat once a day. I'm not hungry right now. I'm not going to eat after the show, right? Because it's all about energy.
Okay, so there's a lot of people tuning in right now, man.
Good shit.
The
Hey, a lot of good stuff too. I see chicken broth,
now,
bone
now
broth,
look, for all
chocolate
the
is good.
people
This is
tuning
good
in,
stuff.
I'm sure people are curious. Yo, how do I get started with fasting? Like that's kind of dangerous, no? Like I have to not eat for like a week.
No, 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 no,
So
no,
for all the people
Whoa.
tuning in,
no, no, no.
no,
You know what, brother? I would suggest myself to just start with maybe just start and then maybe go try to do a day. And if you can't make it through a day, but I mean, just start somewhere. But the thing
I
is,
would.
once you're conscious, it's really conscious about what you put in your stomach, what you put in your mouth. It really begins to change stuff, because when you're thinking about it, it's like
It's
it's a
super
very
easy.
healthy mindset.
It's
like
super. It's super
when I
easy.
think of fasting, I think of like Cesar Chavez fasting for like
oh damn, no, that's demasiado, dude. That's too
That's
much.
like 40 days. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, look,
yeah, no,
fasting is this. Fasting is not eating nothing. That's a dry fast.
right,
It's a
right,
dry
right.
fast, okay?
Amen, amen. Yes,
Dry fasting is something different from what I'm suggesting people do, right? What I'm suggesting people do is that we were presented foods that were very unhealthy and were designed to hurt us or get us to a debilitated state so people could take advantage of us, which is the pharmaceutical industry.
yeah,
That's what that is. What I'm trying to say is that, yeah, the result of following this type of focus and choice of food will result in fasting. I didn't set out to be somebody who fasts.
right,
I
right.
did not set out to be that. I didn't set out to be somebody who's vegan. I did not set out to be that. When I started consuming spirulina, maca, chia, cacao, and hemp daily, that's when things changed.
I'm sorry, but that sounds funny.
Why?
I'm sure it did. Sure.
Oh, I
I'm
mean,
sure it did.
it was, and it wasn't just like all of a sudden I had these foods and I knew exactly how much to take. I'll take a tablespoon of this, and I'll do
Right,
this, and I'll do that, and
right.
I just went to a point where I started doing the math. I started figuring out, well, how much do I just need? And then
Wow,
I made this formula, and I combined the things, and it all came from a prayer. It all came from a vision. It was like, why would somebody from Mexico go to Yucatan for cacao? Fuck yeah, I'll go there for cacao. Especially well-made cacao,
Right,
grown cacao. That raw, like it's not
it's worth
even
the trip.
not even a powder, it's like a paste.
Wow,
Right? That I will go hundreds of miles for. And then why would we go get maca root? These were trade routes.
right.
These were established trade routes for these very important mineral foods.
Of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That was the currency. Mineral foods was the currency. Herbs that heal was the currency.
Right,
That was
right,
what we focused on. That's why we traveled so far, because we went and we got this plant from over here, brought it back over here, started growing it ourselves, blah, blah, blah. So this is how you start. You get your body and your organs ready for this.
right.
When I started consuming mineral foods daily one day, I think it was maybe my 4th year consuming these foods daily on a regular basis. One day I said, what is the nemotemi? And boom, it was the 5-day fast. And I had so much mineral inside my system. I was so comfortable, and I was controlling my diet, and I was already, having 2 very small meals because my blood started to become thinner, and it started to do everything it needed to do. Are you still there, Dan?
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm rolling.
And so one day I was like, I'm going to do it. And I started. But the first year, you got to remember, I mineralized for 2 years. Right? And when you do that, it's like you're kind of getting closer to your own self. Right? Because when we eat foods that are just getting us by, we're not really paying attention to our vehicle.
Right.
We're just getting by. Give me a breakfast burrito. Give me a hamburger. Give me whatever.
Right.
Because I'm just getting by, but I'm hungry. But when you start taking your vehicle or your vessel or your body and you start treating it like a temple.
Right.
You clean it. A temple's to be cleaned inside and out.
Right.
So how do you clean the temple inside? You don't eat. How do you keep the temple clean all the time? You eat once.
Right.
But you have to be mineralized. It doesn't mean that you don't eat anything. It means you have the best food available to you.
Right.
And then the time you consume the best food, then you work your body. Exercise, run, work, whatever it is. These are basic principles to break and destroy colonialism.
Right. Oh man, I think eating better is one of the main things. What's interesting too, Ruben, is that for the fruit that I've been giving my dad in the morning, we've been doing, and this is new to me. I've been giving him dragon fruit. Are you familiar with dragon fruit?
Yeah, I am.
And so it kind of tripped me out. Like I look at it, and I mean, I don't know, I'm not crazy about it, but he just devours that, man. And like, I think that too is one of those things that it's got a lot of good a lot of minerals in it, and then
well, the seeds, the little seeds that
yes. But the thing is too, what he does every day, he does fresh wheatgrass, which I don't do that, man, because when I used to cut the grass in the morning, that's what it smells like to me, and it tastes like that to me. I'm still traumatized when I was a kid having to cut the lawn, But
shout out to
wrong.
Shout out to Centrum and All in One. Have you ever tried
You're funny.
those vitamins?
I never got into vitamins, man. Like, we got to break down what vitamins is, man.
Right? Like, that's it.
Vitamin, look, think about it.
I did the Flintstone ones for a little bit.
Dude, look, vitamins is very simple to figure out.
Right?
Vitamin is very simple. Break it down. Break it down in the word.
7-Eleven vitamins.
Vital.
Right.
Vital mineral C. Vital mineral B. What is it? It's concentrates of these things put into a pill, then given to you as this vital mineral C. It's simple to break down. Minerals should not be concentrated and isolated. They should be taken from their natural source, which is a seed, a root, or an algae, or a herb.
Right.
Those are the natural sources. They have complexity to it. They do not need to be isolated into a pill, then coded and said, this is a vital mineral C. Right? This is a vitamin C. Right? When vitamin C is derived from many different sources.
But you know what's interesting, Ruben? I was noting too, and I was saying last week that I know that I cook and use a lot of tomatoes, avocados, garlic, ginger, a lot of those things when I cook. And I know a lot of those things are, again, too, foods that we culturally have just had for a long time. And so I think that we're also too, we're lucky being indigenous people that we still eat the indigenous foods that we've eaten for, man, hundreds of thousands of years, And if you look at colonial perspective, what is the colonial diet?
It's like meat, bread, cheese, beer.
Sounds like a recipe for cancer.
I mean, it's horrible, bro.
You know,
I
growing up
mean,
as a kid, I always used to remember my father taking fish oil.
oh shit.
And I used to ask him, like, yo, what the fuck are
My
you?
mom made me do that too.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still here. I mean, the thing is that, but it tasted terrible. I had, it was cod liver oil.
Wow.
It was terrible. I
But
mean, I remember
look,
give us $1, I'd plug my
if
nose and I'd
we
drink
But
it.
it's considered a vitamin, right? Or like something
It's good for you, brother.
that's
It's got, I
beneficial.
guess, omegas are really good for your
but
brain.
there's better omegas in hemp seed. There's better omegas. They're a lot more easier to bind to to what we're doing inside our body.
Hey, would that mean that though when I burn hemp, does that mean I'm getting that vitamin too?
I'm not sure that I know what you're talking about. I mean, it goes to the vitamin goes to your head. I'll tell you that much. You know,
Okay, yeah,
but
especially yeah,
but hemp seed is different. Like a lot of people,
right. I know,
a lot of people come to the shop and they're like, "Am I gonna get high eating
Yeah,
hemp seed?"
right,
I'm like, "Dude, it's like that's like, are you gonna get a fucking infant pregnant?" Like, it's like, dude, you cannot get an
Dude,
infant
that
pregnant.
sounds crazy, Ruben.
Well, I mean, that's what they're saying. Am I gonna get? Because a
I
plant has
know,
to
I
go
know.
through a seed,
That's
get to
funny.
be a plant, go to
I know,
maturity,
I
put
know.
out flowers, put out THC, then you get high.
People are silly, people are
It's like,
silly.
no, dude, you can't. I know it sounded horrible, probably, but fucking, the seed is a baby, dude. It's like
Right,
doesn't have
right,
anything. It's just
right.
it's purity, But um, when we talk about ancient cultures, man, they ate certain foods because there were no refrigerators. There was no ice. Okay, so we had to eat fermented food because what we grew, if it was getting bad, we would ferment it,
Right.
right?
A lot
And
of
then
times
we
tried
would,
out too.
or you could dry it out, or we were gonna save our seeds, our roots, and our algae. And that's because seeds, roots, and algae, as they're dry in the dry state, can be stored for long periods of time.
Right, right.
So the answers are there for us.
Well, what's funny too, Ruben. I love my nephew, man. Sometimes he goes out there, man. But he said, "Hey, Theo, I bought all these insects and kind of snacks." I was like, "What did you say?" He said, "Yeah, insects." He said, "There's this lady, locally, a Mexicana, and she does this, insect stuff." And I thought, man, my nephew's getting out of the box here, but he was like, I guess it's a bag of crickets and it's considered pre-Columbian, and so I thought that was pretty cool, and that's what I mean, Ruben, and just it's nice to, man, people are getting out there and doing something different.
I mean, I've only achieved the success through what I've done. I mean, I feel like I'm successful. Like the
No, hell
business,
yeah,
the
you are
business is
successful.
the business is thriving at Malinani Superfoods. We have on Whittier Boulevard, 4528 Whittier Boulevard. Got to
I
put
love
it
that
in.
spot.
We got Plant Based Aslan coming off on Sunday. So hopefully, weather permits and
Right, right,
we're able to celebrate each other once again
right, right.
because that's what we do there, man. This is our time, and this is what we're talking about when we bring up all these subjects and all these suggestions. Remember, these are just suggestions. No one knows anything. I don't know anything.
You're funny.
The only thing I could do is know how it's affected me,
Right,
right?
right,
And it's
right, right.
affected me by, I think that when I stay in a fasted state, and we'll go more into depth. And if that's the subjects that you guys want to talk about, we'll go more into depth on how that is. And we'll always mention things on the next episode and so on and so forth. Because I think that a true warrior, in my opinion, this is just my version of it, my version, Zero's version of it, right? It's not the version of it. That's not the elder. I'm not an elder. I'm just a person that focuses all of his energy on breaking colonial perspective and habits. Because I'm not them. I'll never be them. But, before we say goodbye, Dan, you want to say a couple words?
Yeah, well, I think, man, it's just a pleasure to be on the podcast, and I like the idea of us breaking colonial perspective by pointing out what we still have and what we can do, to empower really ourselves and our people, our community, because I feel like a lot of times in this kind of chaotic, times that we're in, it's like it's not the end of times, it's hard times. But I don't even say it's hard times. I think a lot of times is that we put a lot on our head that we really don't need to carry, and so maybe a fast is almost a good metaphor for just kind of our life too. It's sometimes it's good to, I see, to meditate, think about things, and it's like, and like you said, a fast isn't always, just not everything, because not anything, but I think sometimes it's good to drink water, and when you're hungry, drink, and when you're hungry and you drink, you realize if you're really hungry or if you're not, and so, but that's just it. Just getting in tune with your body, I think, is probably the first thing to get that step towards that breaking that colonial perspective, because when you resonate from your heart, you begin to feel, that your presence, it affects other people and they feel that. And I think that touch to humanity, that way that we just are alive and we feel alive, and to share that is, is part of that, breaking that perspective through our health, through that consciousness, and, attending plant-based, that's a lot, and going, doing the things that make us feel better,
Plant-based Aslan going down, right, Zero?
Exactly.
you got it. I know that makes me feel good.
February 4th. But yeah, well, this is a good talk. I think that, as we go forward and we do our Wednesday LA Natives podcast, everything's going to start to cement. And, the subjects that we brought up today in terms of fasting, take your time. Start healing your body. Because we take for granted, we use our mind and we project things, and we feel like we project so much that we feel like we're outside of our body, right?
Right.
Because if we're projecting outside of our body, we're not paying attention to our body. It's kind of like people who love to go see football, right? And they're idolizing the fucking football player who's super cut and fit, and then they're projecting all of that onto that player, and they don't look in their own mirror. Right? I was one of those guys. I didn't look in my mirror, and I didn't see I was getting overweight. I didn't see I wasn't keeping up with my own vessel, my own experience, because we're projecting everything out.
Right.
And to get control of your perspective, you have to get control of your vessel.
Right.
To get control of your vessel, you need to feed it the best food.
Right.
Whatever it is. Whatever you think it is. If you think it's venison, if you think it's snake, if you think it's buffalo,
Right.
if you
Well,
think
the homie here says it's a cold shower. I think, hey man, if you could do a cold shower,
that too,
that's
whatever it is, we're
right.
all unique.
Whatever your medicine is, yeah.
Whatever it is, if it's cold showers and but we do have to be aware that corporations don't have your best heart, and they don't have you in their interest. They just want to sell a product, and they want to sell a product over and over again. So a lot of the fights that we fight, that we think we're fighting in a mental state and in a mental arena, is really parasitic in your stomach.
Yeah.
Right? I know this because my system is clean, so my thoughts are clean.
Right.
I put a focus on keeping my system clean so my thoughts could be clean. Because I'm trying to spark a community to look into itself and heal itself. And once you're healed, bring it back to the community so we can all start healing ourselves.
For sure.
You see? And you do that. The only way you can experience that is by controlling this, all of this. You got to remember, we're trillions of cells that are alive. And the collective is controlling the trillions of cells.
Right.
So I'm going to treat my trillions of cells with the best sources of food I can find. I'm not going to oversaturate and stuff my intestines until they get gived out, and then my body starts to inflate. And then my thoughts start to become something that I'm not because I'm projecting outside. Nah, not me. I come from the people of the sun.
I come through the belly of the moon. I come from the great culture, which is pre-colonial. It's many cultures that lives in many cultures. We've had many lifetimes. It's time to control our vessel. We'll see you next Wednesday.